Can a grizzled fighter who's been written off time and again summon one last surge of fury, or will a rising force dismantle him and claim the spotlight for good? Today, August 16, 2025, in the sweltering ANB Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Dillian Whyte squares off against Moses Itauma in a heavyweight showdown that's got the boxing world split right down the middle. Whyte, at 37, is stepping in as the underdog, with odds stacked against him like never before, while Itauma, just 20 and undefeated, is favored to steamroll through. But whispers of doubt linger. Has Whyte's experience sharpened him into a trap, or is Itauma's power too raw to deny? This isn't just a fight. It's a test of wills that's fueling endless debates online and in gyms everywhere. Let's break down the layers of controversy, the mounting speculation, and why this could be the night everything changes. First off, the drug test scandals that have dogged Whyte can't be ignored. They've become the fuel for every critic calling him washed. Back in 2019, right before his clash with Oscar Rivas, a positive test for a banned substance threw his career into chaos. Accusations flew, with fans on X screaming "cheater" and questioning every win he'd racked up. Whyte fought tooth and nail, proving it was a contaminated supplement, and got cleared, but the stain stuck. Fast forward to 2023, and history repeated itself when a rematch with Anthony Joshua got scrapped over another failed test. Again, he was exonerated, blaming tainted products, but twice in 4 years. That sparked endless theories. Some posts on X claim it's proof he's been cutting corners his whole career, while others argue it's bad luck in a sport riddled with shady supplements. One user put it bluntly, Whyte's been dodging the truth since 19, and that sentiment echoes across forums, turning what should be hype into suspicion. But Whyte's camp insists he's clean now, training harder than ever, and ready to silence the noise with his fists. If he pulls off a win today, it could rewrite those narratives, but a loss? It might cement him as the guy who couldn't stay out of trouble. And those troubles aren't just about tests. They tie into rumors of a declining edge that's been building since his brutal knockout loss to Alexander Povetkin in 2020. That uppercut from hell in the 5th round left Whyte flat on his back, and even though he avenged it in the rematch 4 months later, stopping Povetkin in 4, the damage to his reputation lingered. Critics say that fight exposed cracks, slower reflexes, a chin that's not as ironclad as it once was. Then came the Tyson-Fury drubbing in 2022, where Fury toyed with him before ending it in 6. Whyte looked labored, unable to close the distance, and posts flooded in calling him shot to SHT. His recent outings haven't helped. A majority decision over Jermaine Franklin in 2022 felt too close for comfort, and stoppages of Christian Hammer in 2024 and Ebenezer Teta later that year were against lesser foes, with Whyte taking 7 rounds to finish Teta, a guy others dispatched quickly. Speculation runs wild that he's lost the fire, that age and wars have eroded his power. Yet at the weigh-in yesterday, he tipped the scales at 244.5 pounds, his lightest in a decade, looking lean and mean. Could this be the version of Whyte who shocks everyone, or is it a desperate attempt to mask the inevitable? On the flip side, Itauma's hype is through the roof, but not without its skeptics poking holes. He's 12-0 with 10 knockouts, most coming early, like his one-round demolition of Dempsey McKean in 2024 that had promoters salivating. His southpaw stance, blistering speed, and counterpunching make him a nightmare matchup. And at 245.5 pounds yesterday, he's trimmed down 2, signaling peak condition after a grueling camp. But here's the rub, he's only gone 25 professional rounds total, never past 6, raising questions about his stamina if Whyte drags him deep. Fans on X are divided. Some hail him as the next big thing, predicting a first-round KO, while others whisper he's untested, that his opposition has been cherry-picked to build a myth. One prediction thread on Reddit bets on Itauma in 1 to 2 rounds, citing Whyte's 0 punch resistance, but another user counters that Whyte's never been blasted out early and Itauma might crumble under pressure. Speculation about his chin is rampant. He sparred with elites, but in a real fight, one big hook from Whyte could expose flaws. Itaama's talked a big game, hinting at a ruthless game plan for an explosive finish, but if he gasses, the narrative flips. The war of words leading up has been electric, adding layers of intrigue that could boil over in the ring. Itauma fired first, accusing Whyte of playing a sheep to catch the wolf, implying the veteran's humble act hides a sneaky strategy. Whyte shot back, calling himself crazy, and saying he sees the fight differently, vowing to be the one nobody else wanted to face. This exchange lit up social media, with fans debating if it's mind games or genuine beef. Posts like, "If Itauma's chin holds up to Whyte's left hook, it's over early, capture the tension," while others speculate Whyte's trash talk masks fear. Itauma's shown respect, predicting a win but acknowledging Whyte's toughness, yet the undercurrent suggests he views this as a stepping stone. Whyte, meanwhile, insists he's not here for a payday, that he's got the dog left to upset the odds. This psychological edge could decide it if Whyte gets in Itauma's head, forcing errors, or if Itauma stays composed, picking him apart. Digging deeper, the stakes in Riyadh amp up the pressure, with Saudi money turning this into a spectacle that could reshape careers. For Itauma, a convincing win, say a KO before round 4, propels him toward a title shot, maybe against Joseph Parker or Alexander Usyk, as his #1 WBO ranking suggests. But a struggle or loss? It derails the hype train, forcing a rebuild and questions about matchmaking. Whyte, on the other hand, needs this to revive talks of a Joshua rematch or one last big payday. A defeat cements him as a gatekeeper, with retirement whispers growing louder. Rumor swirl that the purses, potentially $10 minus $20 million each, are inflating the matchup, with critics calling it a setup to manufacture Itauma's stardom. Eddie Hearn praised it as brilliant matchmaking, but fans on X blasted it as a mismatch. One post saying, "Whyte's washed. This has cash out written all over it." The undercard adds buzz. Nick Ball defending his WBA featherweight title against Sam Goodman, Raymond Ford versus Anthony Kakis in a junior lightweight scrap, but all eyes are on the heavyweights, where one punch could spark chaos. Style breakdowns reveal why this could be explosive or a grind. Itauma's southpaw counters and power in both hands make him deadly on the back foot, slipping shots and firing overhands that could exploit Whyte's aggressive style. He's patient, setting up knockouts with feints, but against Whyte's volume punching and left hooks, he might get drawn into a brawl. Whyte thrives in the trenches, wearing opponents down with pressure, but his slower footwork could leave him open to Itauma's speed. Predictions vary. Some see Itauma punishing overextensions early, landing that vicious uppercut for a stoppage in 1 to 3 rounds. Others bet on Whyte dragging it past 4, testing Itauma's gas tank, and stopping him late if the kid fades. One analyst notes Whyte's stamina could neutralize power, while another questions if Itauma's unproven heart holds up. Betting odds favor Itauma at minus 300, but upset calls for Whyte at plus 250 highlight the uncertainty. Could his experience turn this into a war? Fan theories and online chatter paint a picture of divided loyalties, with X posts amplifying every angle. One thread debates if Whyte's lean physique means he's rejuvenated or desperate, while another speculates Saudi backing is propping Itauma as the next hero. Conspiracy lovers whisper about fixed outcomes, tying it to broader boxing politics, but most focus on the intangibles, Whyte's dog versus Itauma's potential. A user warns 100-plus rounds versus 25 is a huge ask, suggesting experience trumps youth. Another predicts Itauma in 6 to 9, acknowledging Whyte's test but betting on the Phantom's victory. These debates as to the fight's appeal, it's not just physical, it's a clash of eras, with legacies on the line. As the bell approaches, the air thickens with what-ifs that could define boxing's future. If Whyte lands that signature left hook early, staggering Itauma and forcing a defensive shell, the crowd erupts, and suddenly the veteran's resurgence becomes the story. Picture rounds ticking by, Whyte pressing, Itauma countering but tiring until a late surge from Whyte seals an upset stoppage. Or flip it. Itauma slips a wild swing, fires back with a combo that drops Whyte, ending it quick and confirming the hype. Either way, the aftermath ripples, winners eyeing titles, losers facing harsh realities. But here's the real twist. In a sport where power often hides corruption, what if this exposes more than just fighters? Whyte's scandals, Itauma's rush, does it highlight how money and matchmaking skew the game? Think on that as the gloves touch. Boxing's raw truth unfolds tonight, leaving us to wonder who's truly built to last.